Welcome to this YouTube channel. In this video we are going to talk about top 5 haunted houses. So before starting this video, like this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel before you go. So there are so many top 5 haunted places, or top 6 haunted places in America, we was trying to find some haunted houses. We really couldn't find any. So we've done a lot of research into finding some of the more famous haunted houses around the world. The world's 5 most haunted homes. From Abraham Lincoln himself to a house that saw mass murders and a series of insane, demonic haunts. If you like the spooky and scary side of history, world is packed full of places where you can discover tales of the supernatural. Visit the spooky houses mentioned in this video, and you might catch a glimpse of what lurks in the dark. Let's start our top 5 list. Number 5. Monte Cristo Homestead, Haunted, Australia. Australia's most haunted house sits in New South Wales, and has a series of mysterious deaths, since the time it was built in 1885. There has been a pregnant caretaker pushed over a balcony, a baby thrown down the stairs, and a stable boy burned to death whilst he slept but with no reasonable cause of the fire. Not to mention the old housekeeper who tied his mentally ill son to her outhouse for 30 years. People have captured numerous photos of different spirits all around the house, quite realistic ones as well, as if someone is just sitting there in a 300-year-old dress. People have also been touched when visiting the house, or in the dead of night you will hear footsteps outside your room, and then go outside to find nobody there. But there is also intelligence here, people have had their names called out to them even when the house is empty. Number 4. BORGVATTNET, the Haunted Vicarage, Sweden. BORGVATTNET is a small village in Jämtland County, northern Sweden. It is considered to be the most haunted house in Sweden, and is a sure-in for our number 4 with its very own Swedish poltergeist. Its first reported paranormal occurrence was back in 1927 when the chaplain of that era, Nils Nedlund, witnessed his laundry being torn down from the line by a violent unseen person right in front of him. Since then a grey lady has been seen gliding around the property, but always vanishes when former residents have tried to interact. Along with the unexplained sounds and moving objects. 3 skeletal old ladies are also said to watch you in the dead of night whilst you sleep. People have actually reported waking up to have these ladies sitting on a bench in one of the guest rooms only to have these 3 ragged old women staring right at her. There is a journal kept by the current owners, written by one of the residents in 1945. You can see his time here was disturbing. In one of the pages he describes clearly being thrown out of a chair. Just angry spirits? Or something else completely? Number 3. The David Oman House, America. The Oman House in Los Angeles is considered to be one of the most haunted locations in the world. Built on native Indian burial grounds, also on top of a geomagnetic hotpot, and the spot of 5 savage murders by the Manson cult. August 9, 1969, Charles Manson orders his followers into the massive house, far right in the photo, to murder everyone inside in the most brutal possible way. Police arrived to find 5 savaged corpses of Tate and her friends. The Manson family were thought to be something of a cult and worshipped the devil. Sharon Tate was also thought to be something of a sex symbol in the 1960s. A sacrifice killing of so many will always summon something inhuman. Objects fly around the room, voices are heard both day and night. People have even reported seeing a pregnant woman in a long white dress, and bleeding from her stomach asking for help on the side of the road. Not to mention people actually being slammed against the walls, when trying to enter the lower levels. Entering the house or even on the drive up here has caused people to psychically vomit, or become unreasonably ill and depressed. Whether this is something to do with the negative spirits inside, or the geomagnetic abnormalities is still unknown. Number 2. 50 Berkeley Square, London. 50 Berkeley Square in London is so violently haunted that a sign still hangs outside today from the 1950s declaring the building unsafe due to hauntings. The top floor is still sealed off and the house itself is almost impossible to enter. The house came to the attention of the media when an eccentric man, Mr. Myers, who was recently left by his wife, bought the house. He was known to wander the house in the dead of night with a candle calling out the spirits inside. Or in the day he would lock himself in a room that had an inexpiable, terrifying atmosphere. So there is a possibility that he was involved with something satanic, because what happened later is nothing less than a maid living in the house after Mr. Imries was found rigid with fright in the upstairs room. She actually lost her mind after being so scared. A skeptical guest asked to stay in the house and promised to ring the bell if anything happened. After an hour or so the sound of the bell was heard going nuts. They rushed to assist him only to find him stone dead on the bed. Many of the residents in 50 Berkeley Square have gone mad or died for apparently no reason. Tales have been told of a shapeless, slithering, inhuman mass on the upper levels. Today the top floor is sealed, although strange lights are seen manifesting up there. The house itself is closed for business purposes, and the current residents refuse point blank to be bothered by any ghostbusters. Number 1. The VILLISCA Axe Murder House, America. Southwest Iowa holds what we think is the world's most haunted house. The VILLISCA Axe Murder House is the site of one of the most horrific murders in history. 8 people, men, women, children all slaughtered, where they slept, all of whom had their skulls crushed with the blunt side of an axe. The assailant was never caught. A family later lived in the house following the murder in the 70s and they were terrorized. They returned to the house in a recent episode of Ghost Adventures, and you could see they were visibly shook. The house itself is one of the best places for EVP in the world. People get responses out of the house constantly. Not to mention photographs of the murdered children, what sounds like children running around the house itself in the dead of night, objects flying. All of that would be expected in a place where 8 people were killed. But perhaps what is more terrifying is that EVPs have been captured with the children asking for help, saying they are trapped, and there is a disturbingly negative feel to the house. Especially in the downstairs bedroom where a lot of activity is reported. The killer is said to have actually hidden in that closet. So there is always the possibility that this mystery killer was under the influence of or driven by something demonic. Whatever the case, the VILLISCA Axe Murder House remains one of, if not the most haunted house in the world. What do you think of our video? Which house are you thinking to visit? And which house scared you the most? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.